Hey, Mohammed, can you hear me? And good, we don't have the main audio, but I'm about to hear myself twice right here. I have no idea what happened. Or we're on long latency now, aren't we? Sorry, 2 seconds. I think I made this event with like extra long latency. I'm making sure that I'm actually gonna appear here on the screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're on the long latency now. Okay, I am back. What is the last thing you heard? I should not have made the event through the thing because now it's on the extra. What? I don't know what happened. So I think you want me to start this one from the beginning right here, right? Sorry that all of a sudden I have no idea what happened. Just like maybe I had like an interruption in my internet service, but then usually the streaming software like reconnects. I don't know. This multi-stream thing is new to me. I streamed to Twitch for like a minute, like 10, 12 minutes. So I was like, no one was responding. And the last like minute of me was being like, so what do we do? What is this doing? And sorry, now we're on super long latency. So, but you can watch in like high def now live. So what we're doing right here for question 1A is we're looking at, we're going to first put in a random number right here. We just make up a random number. So go ahead and just make up a random number. Maybe it was just like, I don't know, maybe it's just like a random thing. Luckily, it didn't happen during class. Hey, that's good. So we've got a random number right here that we've generated just by ourselves. So now this right here creates a vector of numbers that are stored into X. So this is my big question, and be answering along in the chat. I'll probably have to answer more myself because I think I'm on a 20-second delay right now. Pretty long delay. So I'm probably going to answer more questions than I ask because I should have. When I set the events up by default, they have a normal latency, and I should not have done that. So what do we have right here? And once again, please make sure you kind of follow through and look at all the steps I'm doing. It's very important to understand what the code is doing because I probably won't work every question going forward with assignments. I'll give some hints and I'll like tell you, but the first one right here is a good one to get started on. It's laggy. I have no idea what's happening with YouTube today. I am very sorry. Audio looks to be good. How bad laggy is it? It might be some sort of like server issues. YouTube and maybe something else had issues, but luckily it's not happening during a class day. Yay. So hopefully I see that there was some random issues online, but I don't know. Usually we don't have these issues. Hey. So what's going on here with this code right here? This right here is we are saving into, awesome. We're saving into position 4 and we're saving this value over here. This whole thing right here might as well just be Y. We're just saving Y into position 4. And what do we mean by position 4? We mean this element right here. This is the element that we are saving into. And so we're going to first start by saving into that element 2 times the element in position 2. 2 times the element in position 2 minus 1. And don't worry too much about the order of operations. It's spelled out for you. But look at this. Do you see how similar all of these are? How this thing right here really doesn't change much. Making it the what in the chat. We know what this is from earlier. If you didn't watch that first video, we call this the skeleton. So this is the code that's really not going to change as it runs continuously. As the code runs, this is going to be the inner part of the for loop. And one thing you might notice is that the for loop runs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So we have a for loop here that runs 7 times. And so there's a lot of ways to code this. It's going to run 7 times. Oh, no, I need to make a change to the assignment. Why would this be right here? Must make a change to the assignment because I didn't make this change. 2 seconds here. We need to pull up the, where is my graphic? UT Marvelous line. UT Marvelous line. So let me put this here. Whenever you make changes, you make an error. And let's go here. And before everyone downloads, so this is a change. It should have this also. Great job, Mohammed, right there. It is the skeleton. It is the part of the code that does not change. And let's go right here. And we're just going to update this assignment file. That's a good reason to work on assignments, to find little tiny little bits of errors right there. Did I get mad about little bits? Did I break the internet when I played little bits? Is that what happened? Is that what happened? Make sure I didn't add any extra code into here. And I think we are good. Okay, so let me go ahead and save this right here. It is saved. We are good to go. And let's go ahead and take a look back at this assignment right here. Let's hop down that UT Marvel screen. Boom. Okay. So one thing, if you're watching this video right now, make sure it has the random number there. So whatever number you put into here will be taken down below. So if you put in like 423, whatever you want, that'll create into your random vector there. And it should also create down here. Now, when we write our for loop, here's the interesting thing. I think we said, does it run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So you're actually writing 14 lines of code right here. So you're going to write 14 lines of code, but you're only going to write it in really 3 lines. So, and the third line is very small. So how do you start by writing a for loop? What are the 3 letters we start by writing a for loop? We don't write the whole thing. We don't write the whole thing. So the chat will know. They'll be put in the code here in a second. We don't write for and everything, and then we don't start typing more. All we do to write a for loop is type FOR. That's what we do, and then we hit enter, and it fills out the rest for us. Do not try writing the rest of it. You'll make a mistake, because I make a mistake all the time. Don't write the rest of that. Just type FOR, and then boom, you got it. And this, I want to say this, if you're, watch what we do, Muhammad, you're exactly right, because these are the important things to know. Like, if you just copy down the code and then we ask you to work assignments in the test, then you'll be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm writing these things or how to do it faster and quicker. The more you practice, the faster you get. So we know that when we write our for loop, we type FOR and then we just hit enter because that's a snippet. It fills out the rest of us. And I love that R has those things in here to do the code. So we have right here that we have a variable. Now, you saw Sean gave some suggestions earlier, great suggestions, that we usually make up variables that are very short in name. We don't want to put some long variable in here like, you know, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You could call it that. I don't even know how to spell that. So, but the variable you call is what you will use and what will change throughout the code. So I like to use things just like I. And why I? Because you can think of like the ith position or the ith item. So a lot of times if you're storing into positions, I makes sense. You call it position if you want, but I like to call it I just because it's the shortest thing to write. And so it's just like the ith position, the ith vector, the ith element. So it's a good thing right there. We won't worry about the vector yet. We'll figure that out here in a moment. So let's grab one of these skeletons. It doesn't matter which one we get. They're all skeletons because they're all going to be the same thing, but they don't look like the same thing yet. You know, I think the best way to do it is to think, you know, what if we just call this I? Does everyone see that? That's just I. What is I currently equal to right now? What is I equal to? Just watch what I did. I think it's a really good way to show what's going on right here. What is I going to be equal to? What is that? If this is I, then I is now what? What is I? They'll know in the chat. How about we call, see all of these change, like this changes right here, like these 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 changes. And then this changes right here to 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So I need to change these. So this is I now. So what is I equal to start? When this starts, I is equal to, wait. So wait, watch right there. I is actually what? Like if I was to be saved as something, like if we said I save into, like if we save into I, oh no worries. Yeah, the latency is really bad right now. I should know, maybe I can adjust the settings on how it does the auto events. I just went straight into like auto event. I should have set up a normal event because the latency is normal latency. You can't change it while you're live. I wish you could. But I is, boom, Muhammad, you got it. Latency, totally, I agree. And now this right here, if we were to call it I, it wouldn't be I. See, it's 2, but think about how we can get 2 with I. So I'll give you a moment. Think about if we were to not have, we need 2. So we need 2, but let's say we do it in terms of I, then it'd be I minus 2. Because just take a look at this. Let's just check right here. If we do this, then it's 2. Same thing goes for this right here. And why am I changing these? Just so you can see, these numbers change as they go down. These numbers change as they go down. But watch this. The next time the for loop runs, What will I save into the next time it runs? What will I save into the next time it runs? The next time the for loop runs, what will I save into? And an important thing to say, not saying you don't need to copy on what I'm doing right now. You actually don't need to copy down what I'm doing because I'm just showing it mechanically. But I've noticed some people like write down everything I do. But if you're listening along right now, don't be copying this down. I want you to be thinking the next time the for loop runs, it'll save what into I. Like this is how it works. And it's like, okay, the next time it runs, I is going to have this saved into it. And then what happens? I is going to have what saved into it the next time it runs. So if you're thinking, remember how 4 was here. So the next time it runs, it's going to save into I 5. And wait a minute, Brian just copied that code that he had right there. But look at this. Now this is 5. Look down there. And this is 3. And this is also 3. Does that make sense right here? Nice job, Sean, right there. So now it works. And then wait a minute, the next time it runs, for like this right here, it's going to save into its 6. And we're actually doing the second question too right now. So does this make sense right here? It's going to next time save into its 6. And then it's going to run right here. And think about this is going to be 7. So it's just going to change what this is. Now this seems like a super long way to do things, but we're actually showing what it's doing. Notice what I'm doing right here. I'm only changing what I is. So that way the for loop actually does everything here. But you don't need to do all this resaving into I. That's what this part of the code right here is doing. This right here, we know this needs to go from 4 to 10. That's a vector of numbers 4 to 10. And then we just need one skeleton. And we go right here and we run it. And this little bit, I'm going to get knocked off YouTube again. That little bit of code right here runs all this code right here. So these 3 lines down here runs all these lines up here. Because every time this for loop runs down here at the bottom, it's going to change what I is. The first time it runs, I becomes 4, so it does 4, 2, 2, and it solves the equation. And the next time it runs, it does 5, 3, 3, because it's doing 5 minus 2. And so it's doing all the work right here. It's just changing what I is. So this loops around, changing what I is each time the code runs. Does that make sense? Mohammed, Ahoud, and Sean right there. Good to have you all here. We definitely need to do a little force any for Sean, definitely. So Sean, make sure to drop the question you want in the chat, and we'll talk about it and we'll work on it. But Mohammed and Ahoud, how do you feel about for loops with what this is doing? Like, do you understand mechanically how it's changing I, running the skeleton, changing I, running the skeleton, changing I, running the skeleton? So when you look at it, we're going to go back in time right here now. It's actually running all of this code right here, but it's doing it by changing what I is and dealing with a skeleton. So all of this code right here is being run, awesome, Ahoud. And so we have all that code being run right here via this little bit of code. And we could do it out to 100. Don't do it out to 100. So right here we do it, and we've now made X go out to 100. And don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, I know. Here's a theory. I think some people just go to the end of my code. I shouldn't do it. Don't do this. Be listening to the video. Be watching along. I've just noticed. I'll just say in this video. I've changed it now. I've changed it back. In one of the videos, and I did make a mistake in one of the earliest videos, and I feel really bad about that. I did the drop levels incorrectly. If you watched one of the first office hours this week, I did the drop levels in the wrong way. I stored into the levels vector, and you're just supposed to overwrite the variable itself. And that caused a lot of issues, and that was 100% my fault because I used a function the wrong way, and then I didn't check my output. Always check your output. Make sure your output is what you want. So I'm going to rewrite my vector right here. Then I'm going to run my for loop. And when I run my for loop, I think we have to run the tail of it now. That's the last thing to do. Print the last 6 elements to the screen for the tail. So we go down here and we run tail of X, and that is the answer. That's my answer right there. So one thing I noticed is when I wrote the subset function near the very end, I was talking about how you can quote and unquote stuff. So I was doing like this right here, and I half want to leave this in here. I'm not trying. I don't want to be mean, because what I'm fearing is be listening to this stuff. I try to stay on topic as much as I can. We try to have some fun, but I fear people might be going to the end of my code and then just copying it down. Does that make sense? But I want you to learn how to code. I want you to hear what I'm saying, because it's very important we can take these steps and learn like the methodology and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think sometimes people just go to the end result and they might not be listening. They're just like clicking through, and then they just copy down what I have written, and then they're like, oh wait, that's blocking that up there. And I understand time and everything, it's busy, but you know, and I'm not trying to make people make mistakes, but I felt really bad because, well, one, I made a mistake in a video, and then two, I saw where this, because I kept seeing this same mistake, and I was like, why is this same mistake happening? Like everyone's making this same mistake. And so I don't, you know, I don't like when people make mistakes, and then I want to be as helpful as possible. So I want people to learn how to code. That's my goal. And so I'm always like, how can I be helpful? Well, so with regards to how can I be helpful, what can I help people with right now? What are people wondering about? Yeah, that's what worries. And everyone learns different ways. And, you know everyone's working really hard. And I never want to, everyone's working really hard. It's tough. I was trying to give some people some encouragement last night. A few people were like, this is so hard. I'm stuck. It's just not sticking. And I always think about Adam Milligan, who he said he took 320 and 474. And he's like, I just didn't get it. My brain was just not getting it. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, I get it. He was like, and I've heard that from people who like speak foreign languages. Like one person was talking to me about Mexico, and they were like, yeah, I went on, I lived with a family in Mexico. I did all these different things. And then one day I woke up and I was just talking to people in Spanish, and I was just like, it just clicked. It was like all of a sudden I was just speaking it. And it's not like they learned it overnight, but all of a sudden they just realized it. Like there was this like epiphany moment. My phone, I cannot click the button on top of it anymore. I might need to be getting a new phone, the little silence button on top. Can't click the silence button. So what questions are there? What questions are there? No more sadness. I didn't get knocked off YouTube, Twitch for this, did I? No, Twitch mutes parts of videos if they have copyright. 1C, I am confused if I want to include levels in the code. Yeah, let's take a look at some 1C. Okay. 1 second, going back here to some UT stat to a 1 stuff right here. Let's take a look at that. Sean, Ahoud, Mohammed, so good to have you here. And let's take a look at some 1C. Brian broke the internet. When we were knocked off of Twitch, I was like, oh, we're knocked off of Twitch. That's not good. And I was like, wait, I'm knocked off of YouTube? What? That's when I was like, oh, crud. I was like, what happened? I was like, watch me go to my channel. It's like, your channel has been taken down from YouTube. I'd be like, no. I mean, it'd be, that would not be good. That would be not good. Not fun. Be a sad day. It'd be so crazy. No, don't let that happen. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see right here. We're going to load in the data. This is how we load in stuff to the global environment. We're just going to run it, load it, and we've done it. And we're going to scroll down here to 1C. 1C says, copy paste. Okay, we're going to talk about the levels vector for, I love every time I hear this. I do too. It makes me happy. I mean, it's sad happy is what it is. I should get like, Chandelier by if there was a instrumental version of Sia singing Chandelier is awesome, but yeah, but I don't know, I'd like an instrumental version of it that doesn't like you don't hear someone singing while I'm talking. There probably is that. So the head function on the levels vector. So Sean, what code do you have for this? Because these are sales of notebooks from Amazon. So we're trying to see, we're validating, and this is something Stat201 was doing also. Validating means if data is valid, like, does this data make sense? Like, what are we looking at? What's going on with this? Like, does this make sense? So when we think about validating data, it's like, what does it mean? What's going on? So we need to look at the levels vector here and just the head of it. So think about this. You have the levels vector and you have head. So how could we nest those codes? There's two ways to nest it, and let's just look at them here because I'm on such a long latency. We've got this right here. So we got the levels vector and we got head, and then we got head of levels vector. So let's see the two differences right here. There it is, levels, cool. So we've got we take the levels vector. I can't even think about how this one will work. I should have everything loaded up right now. It's by two and then by box. Is it by? And then by, and then wait, which vector are we taking it of? There it is, by and name. I know the right answer, and it's hard for me to think about. Okay. This one's going to be, this is going to give the full levels vector. I think it's going to give all the levels. It's going to give us the first 6 observation. No, it might just give us all the levels, I think. Yeah, it does just give us all the levels because it's still just using this code right here. I think produces the exact same output. This one was hard for me to understand what it does as I wrote it. This is not the right answer. Don't see. I got to make sure. Do not put this in your assignment. This will create too much output. I'll comment it out near the end right here. But this right here is going to do the same thing. I think. Well, now it won't create too much output around this. Yeah, that creates the same output. So when you run the head of a vector, you only get the first 6 positions of it by default. You can pick the first 3, the first 4, whatever you want, the first however many positions. So it does the first 6 by default, and it gives you the first 6 levels. But the levels vector still exists. It's the vector still has a levels vector to it. So that's why the levels of the first 6 still have, and then you're thinking, well, how can the 6 have all the levels? They don't. It's just that there's a levels vector to the vector, and it works even if you do just the first 6 of the vector. If anyone understands that, you definitely know what's going on. So there's a levels vector. We see that right here. And even if we only report the first 6, it's still the same levels vector. And how did I show that? I went here and found the levels vector, which is this. And then I have this right here, which is the levels vector of just the first 6. And then I asked, are these things identical? And the answer is, yes, they are identical. So it's doing the same thing. We don't need to know that. Comment it out. Cut it out. Oh, man, I should put that on the soundboard. Anyone know that reference besides me? Cut it out. Cut it out. Nope, I'm the only one. So what did I do? How did I break my code? That doesn't look broken. Oh, it's missing 1 parentheses. Really? How did I copy paste that in wrong? Oh, because I missed a parentheses. That's what I did. I missed a parentheses. There we go. That's only a little sad right there. Let's see. Oh, I guess I am. Yeah, I keep missing that 1 parentheses. Oh, yeah, cool. I was like, how'd I miss it? Cool. Oh, no. Oh, I have double. Wow. Oh, I think the stream crashing broke my mind. That's why we look at our output. Always look at the output. I've made the mistake of not looking at my output. If you don't look at your output, you can definitely run into issues. And this is not an issue, but it's a weird thing. These are the names of notebooks. What's going on with this name of this notebook? What is going on with it? Like, literally, what is going on with this name of this notebook? What is going on? Put it in the chat right now as we take more questions, but I want you to think about what is going on with the name of that notebook. We had 6 viewers and went to 3. No! It's a Friday morning. We're relaxing. It's a Friday morning. I really want pancakes is what I want. I should have made them this morning. Had some time. Back to the Future. Exactly. This is not the name of a notebook. I do not know 404 not found notebook. And so this deals with the validation of it. It doesn't make sense that it's like, this is not the name of a notebook. So I have no idea what's going on right there. I wonder if that's so weird that the Twitch and the YouTube, I'm pretty sure you can stream both of them. We did it on last Friday. Are they like you can only stream to YouTube? Maybe I'll just stream to Twitch. So we don't get that many viewers on Twitch, which is all right. I'm just like, I don't be like, hey, everyone, I'm on Twitch. And people are like, nah, Brian, we don't use Twitch. What other questions are there? If you're in 201, I think it's just the 3 of us watching right now. Well, I'm going to put up a 201 video. I'm working on producing it. And Sean, Ahood, and Mohammed, we will be doing the Kahoot later. So check it out. We'll be streaming that. Join in. $20 on the line. Mubot, did you crash us? Are you still here, Mubot? You still here? Oh, of course you're going to say that when I ask if you're here. So, and it's interesting. Check my points. But sorry, there's a cough in the microphone. Feel free to ask a question. Who has questions? Which ones you working on? I think one of the biggest, most important things, and it's really kind of sad, I'll have to put the notes on the video, but we did go over how to do a for loop. I might even edit that video a little bit and take out the part where I just like completely crash. But are there any other questions right now? I might go and edit the remaining portions of the video. Yeah, of course, Ahood. Feel free to ask. Definitely. Sorry, we're on such a delay right here. That's why I ramble like, are there any questions? Are there any questions? Because watch, then I like end the stream, and so it's like, how do I do it? And they're like, no, they're like, the delay. Feel free to ask. I'm gonna put the UT Marvel in the background. Boom, UT Marvel. We got this. Data Camp, if people don't know, is what we use. They give UT students 6 months free access, and so we're very, very happy with that. 2B, can you go over if statement? Yeah, like how to use if else's. How to use ifs. Here we got 2B and then we got ifs. We'll do that. Let's do that. So 2B, what does 2B say? 2B says print out the 123rd element of the buy box column. This entry removes any ambiguity as to the ordering. Okay, so you're using Lubridate right here. So it's the buy box time, and I think we save it into something called buy box. In the first thing, do we save it into print to the screen the first 5 elements, the buy box column? Okay, we're good. So buy box time right here, you can kind of figure out the ordering of it without doing that. You can just print the whole thing. You usually don't want to flood your screen with output. This is kind of a meh idea. Not the end of the world, but take a look at this right here. Can you figure out the format of this date right here with the following? Like, what is that? What is this? 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 Oh, 2C? Oh, cool. I'll do this. I'll do 2P, 2C, and then I'll do Ahood's question right there. So with this right here, we have to figure out the date order, and we can go to the 123rd element as it suggests. We can. I mean, it tells us to do it, so we probably should do it right there. Cool. It's 12, 18, 11, 20. So we have to figure out what these things mean. What is 12? What is 12, 18? There we go. What is 2018? Haha. 11, 20. I was like, 12, 18. 2018, 11, 20. 2018, 11, 20 is going to be, let's load up library Lubridate. And we have right here, year, month, day. So it's year, month, day. So year, month, day, hour, minute, second. Let me double check. Year, month, day, hour, minute, second. And then we have to take and put the vector inside of here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to overwrite this vector. So we've just taken the vector, overwritten it, and then let's do a summary of it to see our sanity check right here. And I believe we have everything correct now. So you can see this time right behind my head right here is the same thing as this maximum right here. So that's how we can figure out how to change it. And the whole reason you do this is to create a date time object. So this code right here is saving into, or it's overwriting rather, the buy box object and creating a date time object. Because before this, I ran all this code, I ran all the before code, because I actually want to see the class of the buy box object, and the buy box time is a factor. Now, when we run this right here, buy box time should be the double format with the position X stuff, and there it is right there. So notice the change of what happens. The whole reason is buy box time is, it's just kind of like categories right now, which is not what we want dates to be. We're overwriting it with this function right there underneath my nose, and we're changing the class of it, which is how R sees the object. So R sees the object and handles it a certain way due to its class. And if we change the way what its class is, then R will change the way it handles the object. So we're doing that right there. And 2C, include 3 bar plots. So if you notice right here, and I'll do one of these right here, and then we'll hop to Ahood's question, because they're all kind of similar, and just make sure, like, you might run into a little error. So we need to get bar plots, and we need to do for such as like the hour of the day. So let's go here to hour, and let's go to buy box time, and there we go right there. This is the hour. So how do we get a bar plot? Well, a bar plot, where'd it go? Here we go. A bar plot, we need a table. It's a step that a lot of people forget to get a bar plot, is you need a table, and then you go here, and you simply ask for plot. If you plot a table the way it handles tables, is it says figures too large for your margins. That's what it always says. Nope. Oh my gosh, what have we done? We've made our screens too small. And now we plot the table and we get the table. So that is a bar plot right here. And I think it is, you know what we might need to do? I might be handling it as quantitative. It's not bad to look at it that way. Let me try a little more things right here. Let me make the code smaller. Okay, there we go. Now I can probably show the screen a little bit better. Sorry if it's a little hard to see right here. I think if you give it... So let's go to where we have this hour right here. And let's go and go as.factor. Let's see what happens if I do this. Does that change it? No, it's the same way. That's what... Nope. Oh, it's mad. Don't do that. Oh, why would I do that? I put it in the wrong spot. Yeah, it looks the same way. Unless we do... You can make a histogram out of it. That's all right. I have one to like do it with Lubridate. I'm not with Lubridate, with Plotly. Let me go grab this real quick. Plotly bar plot. All right, let me go grab one real quick, and then we will do Hood's question right here. Yeah, this will look better. This will look way better. It's got the X and the Y. So we just need the X and the Y. And so the table, okay, cool. I see how to do it. Name and then that and then figure, cool. I should use, because I'm kind of practicing here myself. So we have to load up library and Plotly, which is a great thing for graphics. And so the X is going to be this axis down here, and the Y is going to be the counts. So what we should do is we should take our table, and with our table, we are going to store our table into table. And so we've stored a table into table. So this is our table. And now we are going to, the X vector, which is the bottom, is going to be the names of the table. You say, hey, wait a minute, we know that function. Watch this not work. And then we just want the values of the table right here. So I think if we go to unname and table, that should unname it. We should just get the numbers on it. It should be an unnamed vector, and that should work really well. Yeah, it's just the unnamed values. Name of it is going to be, where does that go? Where does the name go? Sir. And then type bar. How are they getting the names on it right there? Sure. I don't see it on their graphic. I don't know where their names go. Name, hour, type bar. That's good. So let's go ahead and see if this works. It looks like it ran. And there we go. There we go. Here is our bar plot. A little bit better. We could add in extra stuff to this. I kind of like showing off this kind of stuff right here. But if you look at this, this is a bar plot where you can hover over and get the actual counts of stuff right here. How many observations there are in the 19th hour. Is there only 2 observations right there? Oh, it did it out of order, didn't it? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We got to fix one last thing here. So with our table right here, we need to sort the table. So we need to take the table and we need to sort the table, and that should do it. And it's going to do increasing. It's starting with the 2 right there. 2 seconds. We almost get the graphic we want to see, and then we run into a problem. Let me look at the table right here. Oh. So that's the... You know what I need to do? I need to order the table. That's what I need to do. I need to return the elements of the table in order. So I need to go to order of the table of the names. So the names and null. Oh, wait. Order of the names of the table. And that's maybe what I want. 1... See, there's 12, so that's not right. I need to do them. This is where it gets really confusing. The names need to be... Because right now the names... Let me do this. Names as dot numeric. I'm going to give this a little more try right here, because I want to fix this issue. Unexpected. I have one more thing here. Is that right? 10, 9, 1, 17, 2, 18. Okay. And then this is the order of them. Oh, it's saying the 8th. I always forget how the order works. But the 8th wouldn't be the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it's a 0 hour. Yay! That's awesome. And then okay. This works. Table. We're gonna store into table the table ordered. And so that should do it. And now the table should be ordered. And now we're gonna go to the names of the table, all this good stuff right here. And come on. How does that not? Is it reordering it? Why would you do that, R? The names of the table should be in the right order. Let's try one last thing here. As dot numeric, the names of the table. And this. Got it. Yep. It was changing them back. What I noticed here is it was changing them back to characters, and then it was using it a different way. And that's what I want to see. So all that work to do this right here. And we could do other things in Plotly, like label our axes, but now this is all accurate right here, and we have the right amounts over these bars. So you can hover over and say like, oh, there's 13 observations, 131 observations there. There's 13 point, that many. And that's, you can go even and zoom in. You'd be like, I want to zoom in on this. And so you can, Plotly's really neat with what you can do with it. We could put multiple observations on here, but all of this work right here to create a Plotly graphic, and then we could add titles to it, which is not that hard to add titles. You just do like layout features and all that stuff. But yep, so good graphic, and it was all that work instead of it looking like this. That's the wrong ones. Oh, it's viewer and viewer. Instead of it looking like this, we now have it looking like this, and it looks a little better. I like it. Cool. So I hope that helps right here. All the other ones are going to be similar, but, have some fun with it. Like I like working with graphics. It's my favorite thing to do. It's hence why I did it. And so, Hood, you were asking about the if statements. So if is a really good function to use. And the way if works is it's a function. So whenever you hear that we're working with a function, you'll type a parentheses. And what goes inside of an if? A condition. So every single if always has a condition inside of it. So what do I mean by a condition? We're going to put a logical. So we're going to put a logical right here, such as like 2 equals to 2. Now, if this evaluates to true, it'll run the code over here. So we'll put print Brian. So if this right here is true, it'll run the code in the brackets. So that's when I talk about coding brackets. I wanted to make it really big so you can see right there. So that's when I talk about coding brackets. We use it for things like if this evaluates to true, run this code. And whenever you hear me say run this code, it's the thing we put in brackets, or like squiggly brackets. So you have to know the difference between parentheses, which are used for functions with arguments, square brackets, which are used for positions, and then squiggly brackets, I really can't make that, which are used to run code inside of them. So if this is true, run this code. Will it run this code? Yes, it will, because it's true. Now the else is, it's a function, but it doesn't have the parentheses around it, because else is only used to run code if the if is false. So if 2 is not equal to this, it'll print Darren. So if you look at the else, it has what it's going to do inside of it. And so now, since this is false, it'll run that over there. Is it similar? Yeah, basically. It's like, if you think about Excel, I think Excel is like if else. Excel is like if, it's like if else, right? Well, there's an if else in here too. What is it in Excel? Like, it's like, is it if else? It's something close to that. It's like if, and then you put like 2 equal to, and then you put a true statement. And there's an if else. It's very similar to Excel. Like if that evaluates to true, then it will do this. So if you know Excel, it really helps out a lot. You know what I'm gonna try? Make this look a little nicer. I think this will work. Yep, it does. So if, and then it'll run this code, else, and this needs to be connected right here at the end of it. You might be able to do this. This will probably run. That still runs, but you need the else connected at the end of the if. You see that breaks the pattern of the code, and it doesn't, the else just does nothing on its own. The else needs to literally be connected at the end of the if right here, and then that says, okay, if this evaluates to false right here, it'll run this else. You don't need else's, but else's need ifs. So an if does not need an else, but an else needs an if, because an else only runs if the if is false. So an else will never run if, so you could write this big code. You know what? Here's a really good, like, imagine I put this question on the test. You ready? If I were to take all my code I've written right here, and I were to go here and do this, what does this code right here do? What is this code currently on the screen? What does this code right here do? What does this code right here do? Like, imagine this is the test question. And you're like, oh my gosh, Brian said we don't gotta know Plotly. This is like one of those fair, fun trick questions. You're like, no, Brian, don't do it, Brian. But if you know what else is due, and I don't think we cover them in 320, we cover them in 474, but you should know them. They're really good. What would this code do right here? So Sean, you'll have to know what this code would do. You say, Brian, you never taught us Plotly. See someone write a thing on, they'll be like, it'll make a graphic that will show the blow. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. This code does what? This code, I'll remove my graphic over here so you don't think it was made by that. Go away, graphics. This code does absolutely nothing. It's even mad about it. It's like, what are you doing? This code just doesn't work. Reason being is there is no, I'll put the figure at the end of it. There is no if. So if we do if, and we go here 2 equals to 2, and then we put, just run nothing. Oh, we need to put the false. So that does nothing right there. It returns null. Oh, and then it runs it? Whoa. What in the world? Oh, because, no. It's not because of that. It's not because of that. It did not run the code. You were tricked. It ran because the fig had something in it already. Now it does nothing. So this is doing, just to be clear, and I'll show, someone's like, no, it made that thing. No, it didn't. The code is doing nothing right now because this is kind of a decent trick test question, because since 2 is equal to 2, this is running right here. This is the code that is currently running, but if 2 is not equal to 2, or 2 is not equal to 3, which is, this is going to be a false statement, it'll run what's in the else, and that will actually make the graphic. So the graphic was made here because, and so that's an easier question, like, will this code make Brian's graphic? Yes or no? and those are, when you think about tests, you have a 50-50 shot of getting it right, but it should be an easy question, like, given Brian's code is correct, will this weird thing Brian did to his code make his graphic? This will most definitely make my graphic, because the if evaluates to false. So since the if evaluates to false, the else code runs. So this code right here runs because the if evaluated to false. And this is really useful. One thing you can do with this, one of my favorite things to do is if else. If else is a really easy way. Yes, else if. I don't think we have else ifs. I think I don't think there's else if. It's if else, at least in R. So there's if else. So the whole point of if else is that an if else takes a vector and then does a conditional over the vector. So you can take something like survey 10. So let's go here to data, survey 10, which we need to load reg class for first, if I could spell. So we'll load reg class, and now we go to data, survey 10, and now we go to, let's say, survey 10, and let's do $, somebody's, let's say let's say weight, and let's say is greater than or equal to 200, and then we say here heavy and light. So let's look at what this does. This is going to take the vector of people's weights right here, and don't worry, I don't know, I just picked 200. You can change it. You say, Brian, 250. Okay, 250. Because they have if else in data camp. Oh, they do it that way? Else if? Yeah, there's a huge delay right now, Hood. If you can send me that link to that part of it, maybe there's things I guess, can you do else if? Let me look at that real quick. This right here is really good for like changing the values in a vector, because now it runs the conditional over the whole vector. Let me just end this off right here. But this right here runs the whole conditional over the vector. So you could pick an arbitrary point. Don't feel sure. And do this right here. So it's running a conditional over a vector, and you can nest these. and pick a point and it'll run it. So you could do it with like height, and you could pick like 60 inches or 69, 70 inches, all this stuff right here. And you could say like here, tall, you could say short. And once again, I'm not saying anyone's tall or short or heavy or fat or light or heavy, whatever. It's just kind of how we can easily use this. And I think sometimes weight and heights are easy things to understand, like if we're trying to create a breakpoint. And so all of this right here is an easy way to recode stuff. So if you're looking to recode things, you could actually store a new column here really quickly, and you could say height category. So you could say height category right here. And if you look, we just created a variable called height category very quickly by doing this. We've got this new variable right here. Now, one thing we forgot to do is we forgot to put it into a factor, because it's right now a character. So we need to go around it here with a factor, and now height category is a factor right here. And we could even go levels equals, and the levels are short and then tall. And I think, do we need to ordered equals true? Ordered equals true. Cool. And now it's an ordered vector. So we did a lot of work right there really quickly to just show what can be done. But we created an ordered vector inside of R. So we were able to create a new variable with an ordered vector. And let's make the code look a little bit nicer here. We'll do this. We'll expand it, and we'll make it look a little bit more tiered inside of here so we can understand. There's that. Okay, so everything inside of here is inside of the factor. This is what it's turning into a factor. It's turning this into a factor, and then the levels of it are this, and then the order is true, which makes it an ordered factor. So if we understand this is the first argument of the factor, it's what we're turning into a factor, and then the second argument is we're giving it these levels, and then the third argument is it's going to be an ordered, which makes it an ordinal categorical variable. So control structure for medium if medium LinkedIn print showing LinkedIn information. Oh, is this our example? Ooh, let's see. Or they might be using, I think they're nesting. They're nesting. Okay, that's what they're calling else ifs. So they're doing nested. Is that what it is? I think it's nested. I think they're nesting their ifs and their elses. So I think that's what they're doing. Thank you, Ahood. Ahood, you've definitely earned. So wait, let's take a look right here. You've earned the plus 1,000 today. So they've got a medium thing right here. If medium equals, okay, so if the site they're using equals LinkedIn, so print showing LinkedIn information, else, and then they're connecting the if right here. And so, and yeah, the way they're, oh, really? I never use it that way. Okay. So what it'll do, and let's make the code a little more structured here. We can do this right here. Okay, so that's when we go inside of this if. And then it's going to check this if statement right here. So they're immediately connecting a second if right here. And see, it gets a little bit. Yeah, so here's the add the code. So yeah, it goes inside of here, and then we connect everything here. And so let me explain why you would use this example. Let's say you only want to do actions if things are LinkedIn or Facebook. So but you don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to do things if is this or this, because you could say if medium is equal to LinkedIn, or if medium is equal to Facebook. Like let's say you wanted the same action. So you could say if medium is equal to this, or medium is equal to this. Does that make sense, Sarah Hood? Like if you wanted to just say showing information, then you could just put in, like if it is this or this. But what they want right here specifically is they want if it's LinkedIn to do this action, and then they put an else here. And the only way to get to this else is if what? Like how can you reach this else right here? How could you possibly get to this else right here? And that error should go away, right? What's it mad about? It shouldn't be mad about that closure. The only way to get to that else, there we go. I think I fixed it. Is it seeing that as a comment? Oh, I see why. It sees that as a comment. It saw that as a comment right there, because that was commented out. So yeah, the only way to get to the second if is if you have a false. So when you have the false, this code will now run. So if this is false right here, if it is false. Yeah, if the medium is not LinkedIn, this else will activate, and then the if will run right here. Seeing you can tell how people code differently because it's all right. Like this is just how I code. I like my spaces there. I think this makes sense. And then there is no else if, but you can do else space if. So the else right here, and maybe the way I would code it. So let's try this. We're gonna do this like last example here. I might code it this way. This might even be a bad idea. Let's find out what happens here. So we actually need a data set right here. Let's do this worked. Okay, so we're just gonna say this worked, and we need a data frame. So this is a review on how to make a data frame. Let's call here medium. So we just do this. Yeah, we don't need a data frame, we need a vector. So LinkedIn, and well, I guess it's just looking at median. Well, we just need a short vector. Cool. There's the medium, and let's see right here, showing LinkedIn information. Let's go here. Let's run this. It says Facebook. Good. This worked. We got it. So my difference would be is I would put, and I guess I didn't know this till now, Hood, so very much thank you for helping me out, is you don't need this right here. You don't need this. That's the way I would do it, is I would put the coding brackets around the else, and then I would nest it inside of it right there. And I might even, truthfully, if someone said code this on your own, Brian, I'd probably code it to look like this, which is maybe a bit too crazy. And if that's the last line, I'd end it here. So this is the way I would code it right here. I would do if, and then else, and then if, and this will still work right here. And that's how I would code it if I was, that's just how I would code it. So you're kind of nesting your else's in you're nesting ifs in else's. So you're putting, does this make more sense of it, Ahood? But the other way you had it was perfectly fine. Of course, that's the way they're teaching it. There's just, yep. So really good job learning data camp right there. And the more you practice and the more you can kind of manipulate the structure, the better you understand the structure. And I think I had seen where else and if were like this. I just don't do it that often. Like I'm like, I think I have seen that equals codes. I just code mine like this because I always think else run this code, if condition run this code. And so when I say run this code, I always think about a squiggly bracket, but I guess I didn't know. So you could say if, like just to practice, always good to practice. If 2 is not equal to 2, so that'll evaluate to false. Do nothing. And then we go else if, and then we need a condition here again. If 2 equals 2, then say Brian. So this code right here should say Brian, and it does. So just, I know this seems like the most ridiculous small things to do, but if you can write out stuff like this, now don't just memorize it and write it out, but if you can write out this structure right here and know what it does, then you understand that this is going to go in, it's going to evaluate this as false, because this is just a flat out false. And you could just put false right there. And so since that evaluates to false, it does the nothing code, and it does not run this code. So you could say, you could put a big number inside there. It's not going to run that. So this will not run this code right here, but the else will activate. The else will start up. And with the else starting up right here, it'll then go here and it'll say, okay, if this is true, which this is true, might as well just be true inside of there, it'll run Brian. This is a decent 474 question also. What will this code do? Which of these will it print out? And the answer is, it'll print out Brian. It's also, I was thinking people might look at me like, oh, Brian's next to the true. Maybe it'll print out Brian. Oh, this is a trick question. So I think that's got it. We'll try streaming on Twitch today, and hopefully it didn't be like, you can't stream on both. You can't stream to YouTube and Twitch. We'll see what happened. We'll see. It's weird that they both kicked off maybe with some of my internet, but that's got it for now. We're on long latency. Thank you everyone for being here. How many people do we have watching? 7 viewers. If you're here right now, that's awesome. Say hey in the chat. Let's get some happy music going right here. Some exciting music to end off. We'll be back on Kahoot later. So come back for some Kahoot. Check it out. Get some quotes from Mubot. Mubot, end off the stream, Mubot, with a happy quote. A happy quote. What's your happy quote for the day, Mubot? Mubot says to us, Vols help Vols. I couldn't agree more. Vols help Vols. Good to see everybody. You're more than welcome. Wait, I have a question. No, wait, sorry. I'm still here. Still here. There's Vols help Vols, because Vols help Vols. We only listen. Hello, I have a question. Visualization, I noticed that there was a definitely differences in the data between the moon cycles, but how do you know if the differences is large enough to count as particular? I'm sure you went over this. Yeah, no, in my video, and I'm not gonna leave now. I'm gonna be like, go watch the video. I'm here right now, so I'm gonna answer it. And so we'll answer it right here also. Let's bring up, because that's due tonight. Good, thank you for swinging by right here. I'm gonna bring up the data and we're gonna make the graphic and we're gonna talk over it. And I do have, let's pull up both data sets right here. Thank you for asking the question. No. Don't worry about it. I'm here. So, and am I supposed to be here till noon? Let me look. If I'm supposed to be here till noon, I'm not gonna leave. Let me look at this. We're on a 30-second delay because the other stream crashed. Oh, I'm here till 11:30. Oh, so let me not leave. Sorry, I didn't know what time it was. I don't know what's going on. So don't worry. I hang around while there's questions. So I'm pulling up both data sets. Okay, here we go. We got the data sets open. Let's take a look at these data sets. Boom. Okay. So here are the types of crimes, and here's the moon phases. Let's enhance a little bit. Enhance. There we go. And now let's make our graphic. We're going to go here to analyze, fit y by x. We're going to pick if the types of crimes that we're interested in, because we want to understand them, can be explained by the moon phases. And so I think the biggest thing right here is understanding. Let's do this. So I'm going to do the way I like to look at it. I do this in the video. Don't worry, my head's not blocking anything right now because I'm going to go here and I'm going to first remove the total percentages. It says to do that in the video, remove the total percentages, boom. That changes what we're displaying down here. You'll see it in a second. We're going to go here to this icon. Pause the video now, but it's also in my helper video if you're watching this, where we select this icon, click here one time, let go of it, and then drag and drop till you see this bar appear. Now be careful, you could put it in any weird spot. Put it right there. Now, we're going to close this off right here. And for purposes of the screenshot, and I do this more slowly in the video, we're going to grab right here and extend this down further. It just helps when we take a screenshot, which I think I can show you just a screenshot here. There's the screenshot. Oh, there's my services for Adobe Cloud. Yay, Adobe. That's how I edit videos. And so we're going to go right here and take our screenshot. And let's take a look at the screenshot. This is a great screenshot right here. It has everything we need to see. Now, notice where do you see some of the biggest differences? And so let's kind of highlight through here. And so I don't want to say the answers, but I kind of want to point to where you might see some answers. Like, let me ask it this way. Like, I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but let's go right here. And let's say we were to try to figure out if there is an association. How would these graphics look if there was an association? If there is an association with these graphics, is it going to do it? Didn't do it. There's going to be more separation. What do I mean by more separation? It might look something like this right here. Does this make sense? Is the more of an association there is, the more differences between the levels there are. And what am I talking about when I say differences between levels? Here we'll use the black right here. Is that, let's say, these are, let's say, items ordered at McDonald's versus Burger King. And we've got here like chicken-related items, beef-related items, and then we've got here vegetarian-related items. So we've got McDonald's and we've got Burger King. So Burger King, you can notice, like, what would you tell me about this with McDonald's versus Burger King right here? You'd say people who go to McDonald's are what? People who go to McDonald's are what? Like, if you looked at just the McDonald's people, what would you tell me about these people? And we're on a 60-second delay, so I might just repeat myself a few times. You'd be like, oh, the people who go to McDonald's are blah, 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 blah. Where the people who go to Burger King are blah, 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 blah. I don't want to say it exactly, and I don't know the percentages, but we're talking about a conditional distribution right here. So this is a mosaic plot, categorical data, and we're talking about given somebody goes to Burger King, the probability of them ordering a chicken menu item, and we could give that probability because we'd have to go back to our graphic, and I hope this helps kind of clarify. When you go to the graphic, you can see, given it's not a full moon, like if we're looking at this right here, the violent crime, Given it's not a full moon, so we're going to go in the row percentage down here on the bottom, the probability of a violent crime is 5%. And you want to look at this and be like, does that look like 5? Oh, it tells me. I purposely did that. But it tells me that that is 5%. So if you're kind of wondering what the percentages are, like, wait a minute, what is this percentage right here? It is 30.58. You'll also see that right here. Let's go to where the 30.58 is at. 30.58 is right there, and you notice it's the drug and alcohol right there under the not a full moon. So maybe we'll compare that over here to this, just kind of saying, and look over here. This one is 41%. And you can see that right here, 30.58 to 40.41, maybe taking the differences between those. So taking the differences between those might be a good idea. Big hints right there, like being like, oh, this is a difference of this. This kind of seems like a sizable difference, or maybe it doesn't. I'm not going to tell you. But when you look at this, this one shows a very strong relationship right here. And then let's contrast that with a very weak relationship. Imagine Burger King and McDonald's had menu items that looked like, we'll go right here and do this. So it's a little bit different, tiny bit. So now if we had Burger King and McDonald's having menu items that had this sort of difference, is it like what qualifies as differences? The bigger the gaps between the two, I'm going to erase the wrong thing. You ready? Oh, I didn't. So the bigger these gaps, the bigger the differences. So this one on the right there, I'd say has a very strong association. Just comparing the numbers and kind of, so that's a really hard question, Hannah, right there. And we could talk about p-values, but we won't talk about p-values yet. But this right here, I would say has a strong association. It has a dependency, like the menu item people order at a restaurant, McDonald's versus Burger King. We see, I can't spell. We see that it very much depends on where they go. This is vegetarian, this is burger or beef related items, this chicken related items. But over here in this graphic, we see that there's really not that strong of a dependency. Even though there's such a small difference right there between the two, it's really not a sizable quantifiable difference. And we might say, oh, the people who go to Burger King, 30% of them order chicken items, where 31% of the McDonald's people order chicken items. Meanwhile, and so that's just one like fake question. Does that make sense? It's like, in this question, we see that 30% of people who go to Burger King order chicken-related items versus 31% of people who went to McDonald's order chicken-related items. This is only a difference of 1%. I don't think there's much of an association here. But the other example of the question, if we were to point to this right here, would be something like, and you'd have to look at your numbers in the graphic to get these, 20% of the people who go to Burger King are ordering chicken-related items. Meanwhile, 50% of the people at McDonald's are ordering chicken-related items. And just think about that large gap right there. So until we start talking about p-values, and yeah, so exactly, Hannah. Exactly. Hannah, 1,000 points. We gave us some mega points today. But throw that on top of your points this week. That is an amazing answer right there. It's kind of like, is it? Is it not? And if you're wondering about this graphic, we can actually look at the p-value. And the answer is it's not statistically significant. What have we done? Oh my gosh. What's the sample size on this again? 249. It's not statistically significant. I thought it would be a little lower. That's one of the few ones that, and I didn't look at it while I was doing it because we haven't talked about p-values. So I might mention that to someone and be like, hey, you know, it looks to me like we're trying to have them say it. There's some sort of association here. Oh, and I didn't take a random sample. I don't think I took a random sample of this data. So, please take a random sample. Please follow the visualization video. I did this kind of quickly just to get to the graphic. But in truth, we should really have made it, at least I'm just thinking about for like next semester. I'm just kind of putting a mental note in my mind that if we go back to the data right here and make it a stronger, what we need to do is we probably need to go here, delete off some of these observations. Well, we need to delete these rows. There we go. And then, so I deleted off domestic abuse full moon. And then we need to go to, let's delete off some of these rows. This will make for a much more interesting graphic. Don't do this. I'm just kind of showing an example here. I think this will create a strong enough association now that we will see statistical significance. Do we? We don't. We still don't. I'm really bad at making statistical significance today. Let's go here. Let's change this data. Let's go here and change this, copy this, and go to here and go there. And let's rerun the data because I made some massive changes there. And let's go to type of crime, moon phase, and let's look. There we go. This, if this is not statistically significant, it is. It is. So there, you see right here, Hannah. So this is very statistically significant, and we see a massive change between not full moon and full moon. And you can see during a full moon, we see that there is 43% of the crime is property damage. During the not full moon, 18%, and that's one of the massive changes. Oh, and then we see domestic abuse during not full moon is 27% of the crime versus domestic abuse during a full moon is 10%. And truthfully, the first thing I would look at is I would first look at statistical significance. This is something we'll talk about in 320. Is something needs to be statistically significant before it's practically significant. So 320 is right up to hear all that. Oh, dude, Alan, well, you're up there. All my students are my favorites. Alan, we crashed earlier. Does this make more sense, Hannah? I crashed on YouTube and Twitch. I was streaming on YouTube and Twitch, and both crashed same time. I noticed because I was talking and no one was talking back to me, and I was like, I know it's a Friday, but no one talked back to me for like, I was like, so, and then I like talked more, and then we're on a 30-second delay right now, so that's why sometimes. But hopefully this makes more sense. Kind of going through some examples, and we'll need to fix this so that there's a stronger association. And I do agree what you should, because it seems like, Hannah, to look at p-values. Yep, awesome. Great work there, Hannah. You should really look at p-values first to see if something is statistically significant, which means the probability of our results or results from our stream are happening by random chance, or, oh my gosh, the probability of our results or results from our stream happening by random chance given the null is true. There we go. I can't say my favorite saying. Mubot needs to know that. Oh, don't be sad, Alan. We got this. Mubot is going to learn right now a quote, and then we might end stream, but we'll hang out for just a little bit longer. Mubot is going to learn the probability of our results or results more extreme happening by random chance variation given the null is true. So that's a p-value. I could put quotes in here. Maybe I could say quotes every once in a while. A p-value is. There we go. Run this. And so quote. Yeah, I wonder why both crashed too. I'm like, can I not stream to both services? A p-value is the probability of our results or results from our stream happening by random chance variation given the null is true. Good job, Mubot. And so that's what we see right here. And the null for this would be that the two have no association. Any other last questions? Feel free to say, how you doing? We were just playing some chill music right here. Just playing some like... We're just hanging out. I don't know what I'm doing. It's Friday. It's Friday. All those great things. But we will be back for Kahoot later. Alan, you get me around for the Kahoot. We're going to do it on Twitch. Hopefully we don't crash. Maybe it got mad because I only had we had 4 people watching on YouTube and 2 people watching on Twitch. And that crashed. So I had the Twitch chat up. So hopefully I want to get I just want to get us monetized on Twitch. Brian's, yeah, I love it. We're on such a delay. I can't talk to people instantaneously. But yeah. And so we'll probably end. I restarted the stream with the default settings. I need to look at, I'm going to look at, I got to finish editing a video for 201 for visualization 4. So Hannah and everyone else, if you're listening, visualization 4 is going to have the video by the end of the day up. And that was moved to Wednesday. And I think that's got it. I'll hop on the Discord. I'll say hey to some people. But for now, let's say hey to Bun. Bye, everybody. But let's play some happy music. Bye, everybody. We will be back later today. See you for now. Bye.